I'm going to be honest with you about Wizards of the Coast, WOTC. Their failed 5.5 2024 edition made more money for them than the OSR makes. Why would a company want to cater to a group of people when the majority of their audience doesn't actually like the old school? They don't like the old school game. They will not be purchasing products that are old school. And if Wizards of the Coast focused on us, well, they'd be catering to a group that would give them less money overall. We got to remember that WOTC, or Wizards of the Coast, is still a business. And it's their right to go out and try to make as much money as they possibly can. Even if that means they play identity politics. We criticize WOTC for catering to the cheapest side of the audience. But what happens in the old school? Look at the YouTube landscape. What happens to the old school audience? Well, you got to cater to a certain portion of them to get a lot of favor from them. You got to play yes man. You got to attack people they don't like. You got to do a lot of similar things, different but similar, in the fashion that you got to play to the cheaper side of the audience, and if you do, you get more support. But then we'll look over at WOTC, who's doing something similar, not the same, but similar, towards their audience, playing to the cheaper side of the audience, but it makes them money. It's not really much different than what's going on here, right? I am proof of that. If this audience was really a lot different than, say, what you see going on with the WOTC audience, well then, being honest, not playing yes man, not attacking people cheaply, but doing just plain out, good content, focus on the game, giving out advice, doing all that, would draw people to you. But if people want to be catered to in a certain way, that won't happen. And that's all WOTC is doing. They have an audience, and they're catering to the audience, and the old school will get quite upset with the way they're doing it. It's not the catering cheap part that the audience is really mad at from the old school. It's the fact that WOTC isn't catering to them in the same way that they cater to the more modern audience. I know that's not going to get me a lot of fans or support or whatever you want to call it. But I'm honest. I don't play yes man. I don't attack people cheaply. I don't play to the more shallow side of the audience here in the old school. I never have. I tried to open the door to many different people, covering a variety of games, giving out a mix of general advice, and sometimes it leads towards Dungeons and Dragons, old school, because, well, that's what I like. That's the world I'm from. But it is what it is. I don't cater to the cheaper side. And when I look at WOTC, that's all I see them doing with their audience. And that's all I see YouTubers in the old school that are more successful than me doing here. They cater to a portion of the old school audience that is shallow. And when you look at WOTC, they cater to a certain side of their audience that is more shallow and wants to be catered to. So why would WOTC want to then turn around and cater to an audience that gives them overall less money? Look at their failed project, like I said, with D&D 5.5 2024. No matter what you think of it, they made more money than the OSR makes. Even though I point out these facts, I'm not mad at WOTC, nor am I mad at the audience that they have that wants to be catered to that way. And in reality, I'm not even mad at my fellow YouTubers in the old school that cater to a certain side of the audience. I just don't. Right? I don't, for the long term, for me personally, I don't see it as being effective here in the old school. I can understand why WOTC does it, but here in the old school, many of our people will soon be aging out. I said this years ago, we're getting closer to that. It's not like we have a youthful audience, right? Here in the old school, the way I try to be effective is to cover a variety of games and give out somewhat neutral advice. Advice that could work for a lot of different tabletop role-playing games. I try to back that up without being cheap, with just focusing on being entertaining and interesting. The combo does grow me, it does get me somewhere, and I think in the long run, it will keep going up. It has some legs, there's some longevity, and I get some younger people now. My audience has been starting to become a bit younger. People do want to hear about a variety of different games and different ideas. And, just trying to be entertaining and interesting is the other part I put behind everything. So I see that as a lasting thing. And I want to know that if I'm ever called up to a bigger game here as an entertainer, that I can handle it. I can get on the stage and talk to people. I can be interesting no matter where you put me. You bring me over to your stream or something like that. Well, whatever I have going on, my charisma, my entertainment, factor follows me, and I'm beneficial to the people that I talk to. Now, of course, that means where I'm not catering to a shallow side of a certain group of people, I might not rapidly grow as fast, right? But it also puts me in a safety factor. There's a lot of people around, I notice, that grow really fast, but the second you drag them over to a stream or somewhere where they're going to be entertaining without the cheaper, shallow factor of what they're doing, it doesn't seem to work out for them. I'm happy that when I go from here to somewhere else, well, my qualities that I focus on here go with me. And I bring that to the stream that I go on. And I see quality in covering a variety of games and giving out advice. That means, long after I'm gone, well, hey, my content is still valuable to the world, right? It won't matter what timeline it is. It's people are serving what people want now, but people in 10 years might want something different. So a lot of content out there, a lot of talk out there becomes meaningless later on. That way I get to grow on here, get somewhere, slowly build myself up to success, but also make quality content that is going to last well beyond my lifetime. So it's a way of me giving back to the hobby. It's a way that I can truly care about the hobby. I don't got to be shallow or empty when I say these words. I do care about the hobby, but I also care about growing and getting somewhere. So it's a balance, right? But it takes time for people to give you time because, I'm not playing to that shallow side of them. A lot of people in my audience will get mad at me for certain opinions. But I overcome these type of things by entertaining them, by being interesting for them. I can't just get a like from them. I have to earn everything. But through earning it, as I grow, again, it tells me that if I'm really put up on a stage or put somewhere, I have something that people are going to like, that people want. And I won't have to drag some type of shallow opinion with me to get people in my favor, to get people in my camp. That's really important to me. It tells me what I'm doing here is real. And then it shows people that I'm real. I really do bring something good to the table. I don't want no false evidence that tells me I'm somebody I'm not. I don't want to grow big because I did something shallow only to find out that I'm not interesting and I'm not entertaining. Right? I don't want that. I don't want shallow, empty popularity either. I'm not looking to be popular. I'm confident in who I am. That matters to me, right? Though, when I look at the landscape, I do see one shallow group of people getting mad at another, mostly because I think, well, that shallow group of people is having more success than you. There's some jealousy. There's some of this going on. And it's one shallow group of people saying, we want to be catered to. We're mad that that group over there is more catered to than us. What I'm saying is the people that complain about WOTC, I really don't see the difference in the way they're catered to, what they're looking for in WOTC. I mean, there's differences, but the shallow, side of the entire thing seems very similar to me. That's all I'm seeing. They simply want WOTC to do for them what WOTC is already doing for another audience that is much bigger. An audience that, again, looks at the old school and really isn't interested in what's going on here. At least they're not interested, like, say, in old D&D. They're not interested in one thing. But I do notice that they are interested in the variety of games that we have back in the past. I have noticed that does seem to appeal to them. And I'm not trying to get to their shallow side. I go, well, if that appeals to you, I'll bring something to that, because I have a lot of experience with different games. I ran many different games in the old school and played many different games. So I can inform them, and I bring some quality advice along with the whole thing. Whenever I do a stream on one of these games, I tell people what I picked up from it. I give them ideas. I give them advice about how to run the game, even about playing the game. What that's all about. I do a little bit more than just covering the facts. Because again, I'm not looking to appeal to any shallow side. I want what I'm doing to have value, right? And again, I might not grow because I'm not doing something cheap. It's not like a quick growth, but there is growth, and that's important. It tells me I do have value. I understand it takes some people time to open up to what I'm doing, to see the value in what I'm doing. But when they do, I get support, right? And unlike a lot of other people around that will cater to a shallow side of people, if they suddenly go in a different direction or give an odd opinion, they can lose a lot of their support. I don't, because my support is hard earned, with people already coming to me that might not agree with me on certain things, but they're still entertained, they're still interested in what I'm doing, so they give me their support anyway. So even if I talk about a different game or talk about some different advice, I don't lose support that easily. It doesn't just pour out, right? Because I've already earned it through hard measures. I'm not kissing their ass to begin with. That's it. Now, I'm not judging that this goes on. I'm just recognizing the reality. That's all this video is about. It's a recognition that there's a lot of shallowness in the tabletop role-playing game hobby. And a lot of people cater to it and get built up from catering to it, right? They just do. And I'm someone who doesn't do that, so I feel like I'm someone on the inside of what's going on as a YouTuber, and I can see it very clearly. But I do criticize a bit of the old school when I see them complaining about WOTC, because I'm like, well, other than going after different topics or whatnot, WOTC is not doing something much different. I see the criticism of WOTC as being somewhat empty and hypocritical. It's very hypocritical to sit there and judge WOTC when you have a crowd of people who have YouTubers, content creators, that pretty much play the exact same game, cater to the shallow side of the audience, and they get major support. And that same audience is simply mad at WOTC for not catering to their shallow side the way WOTC, caters to the shallow side of the newer crowd in the hobby. Now, a lot of this complaining and hate and criticism all leads to a fracture in the hobby, where you notice a lot of new school people do not connect with old school people. I'm happy to say that I get a few new school people in my audience, and they appreciate that I go after some things without bitching about WOTC every 2 minutes, right? They like that. They actually like that about my content. My content is neutral. It's about games and a variety of games and not one game, especially a game that they're honestly, in most cases, not interested in. Yeah, you find out a lot of the new D&D crowd are simply not interested in the old D&D. Sometimes they can be interested in the OSR, but they get turned off at the crowd they see around the OSR, because that crowd seems to reject them and tell them what they're doing is crap or their game is crap. So it turns a lot of people off, right? Now, I'm not trying to cure that. I don't think I could. I'm not so ignorant as an individual to think I can complain and say something and criticize and suddenly I fix how this is going down. I think this is just where we're at. Though I see no harm in calling the reality out of what's going on, right? To notice the fracture, to point it out. I just see no value in the argument. I see no value in the hating of each other over any reason. I look at this hobby as like something that is meant to bring us together, not push us apart. But when you have people that want something more than just playing a game, they have an ego. They want to be popular. Maybe it's all about money for them. When that's all they want, when the content creators, WOTC, or the YouTubers are shallow, the audience is shallow, what do you expect to get? People aren't here because they're passionate about the games anymore. They're passionate about being right. They're passionate about, oh, how great they are. See, I think I have something to give. I do want to grow. I do want to get somewhere. But I'm passionate about actual gaming, right? I'm passionate in growing and being an entertaining person and putting myself out here. But I'm also passionate about the actual hobby. And what I hope is, and I've noticed it works, over time I'm able to draw people in with real passion for the game. Because there's a lot of people in the middle, a neutral group of people on both sides, that do just care about gaming. And that's great. It just takes some time to get to them. They're not out here looking around as much, and they expect most people to be shallow, right? They don't follow these people over here. They don't follow these people over here. They're like a neutral crowd, and I think the neutral crowd is the larger one. I really think that. And when I see other content creators out there that I think play more to the neutral crowd, like a Matt Colville, I notice their following seems to dwarf the following of other people on each side that play to the shallowness. See, this side, even with WOTC, some of their bigger YouTubers are not as big as Matt Colville, because I think they play to a shallow crowd. When I look at the old school, some of the bigger YouTubers here play to the shallow crowd. I think there is a center, right? And what I do is aim at that because I can, and because I want to, because I have real passion for the game before my ego. I hope you notice that here on this YouTube channel, that really I have a passion, right, for the game. And I'm looking to appeal to those people that seem to not have a home anywhere, that don't care for the shallowness over here, and they don't care for the shallowness over here, right? I'm center. I have real passion and real experience to share with you. So I hope that draws you to me. I put the work in. I put out daily content, daily videos, and I stream currently 4 days a week. And it's all covering what I say. Giving you advice, talking about different, unique games, all that. And interacting with you. Entertaining you. Being interesting. And here's the follow-up. I care about the people I serve. I really do. I genuinely connect with people that are going to speak to me. I do make a deep connection with them because I'm here for passion. I'm not shallow in practice. I'm not cold-hearted in any form in that way. That's why I do connect with my audience. I do genuinely care about them. It's a real thing with me. So I will care about you. I'll care about what you want. And if you're someone who's not shallow, you found the right person. Someone who will care. Someone who's just not empty when they speak to you. Nothing empty here. At the same time, I'm capable of entertaining you and being interesting. You just got to give me your time and be open-minded. Of course, I'm not always going to say what you agree with. But that's because I'm not doing the shallow game. I'm not being empty. And that you got to be more open to. But I know that takes time. I just want to put my flag down. Let you know that I'm here and that I'm real. And if you're someone who isn't shallow in the tabletop role-playing game hobby, you have a home here with me, right? You have someone who's capable of serving you on this platform, on any platform where you give me a stage. Yeah, I can do what the others do. It's just I'm not shallow. I'm real, right? And that goes with me wherever I go. And I make sure that if I didn't have these qualities, I simply wouldn't be on YouTube. Because if I really can't entertain you, I wouldn't bother being here. I'd get back in the crowd. I'd be genuinely honest about my reality. I wouldn't waste your time or my time in the process. right? So I'll accept growing slow, drawing you here and doing the work. But I just want you to know that I am here for you. I really do love you, the people that I serve when I say it. I really do care. I'm patient. I want to help you. That's legit. I want to get back to the hobby that saved me, made me a better human being. And so I'm always looking to grow and evolve for people to make sure I'm not being someone I don't want to be. I have not been perfect over the years. But guess what? People that are like me, suddenly they'll see it. They'll get to it, because if it's real that you care, you'll change, you'll evolve, you'll adjust, you'll grow up. It's all how that works. Okay, I love you. I'm here for you. Check out the content. I'll see you tomorrow night. I'm streaming. Then I'm streaming this weekend. One of the games I'm covering is Call of Cthulhu. Very popular one. Okay, talk to you then.